piece of paper and map out my life and wondering where I was going wrong. Now, the biggest thing that I was facing was that I wasn't prioritizing myself. I was not a priority. I was just trying to please everybody else. You know, I was trying to deal with work. I was trying to deal with my family. I was trying to deal with every stress and possible circumstances that you can go through. And it was just felt like I was carrying that Bergen again in Afghan, going uphill, but twice as heavier, twice as aggravated. And what I fell into is this rut for 3 years. And I didn't know who I was. I had no identity. And that's quite common for men, because men will go through different transitions in life. In our 20s, we're free and single, you know, we're going to Ibiza, we're having lads. Then we meet someone around 30. Then we end up getting a mortgage. Then we end up having children. Then we end up being committed to a job we didn't even think we were going to be committed to. Then we're put into a management role, and then we're like, fuck me, what has happened? And then you look down, you can't even see your dick anymore. You're low on confidence. You get up, and it's the same grind, and you turn into a zombie. All right, sound familiar? So we go through that, and we forget to prioritize ourselves. That when we have children, we forget ourselves. We're like, I've got to sacrifice myself for the children. I've got to sacrifice. Which is horseshit, okay? By not prioritizing yourself, you're actually not being there for your kids, all right? You still got to make sure you prioritize yourself. We've got to figure out who you are. And the key thing to figure out who we are, the engine, the key, the core, the drive, whatever you want to call it, is your true, deep purpose for being alive, for waking up every single morning, for showing up for your workouts, for making every decision. Every decision you make from here on in has to be leveraged off your purpose. So I'm going to go through some bits and pieces with you now. I'm then going to flip the board over. I'm then going to go through a little cycle that we go through, and hopefully in your mind you'll be like, wow, okay. So some of you might have saw this the other morning. Sorry, the outcome of this is a wake-up call. All right, so priorities, priority tables. Now this is where most of you are. Work, you know, all of your energy, if you're honest, all of your thoughts are consumed by obligations to your work, the stresses of work, the stresses of meeting budgets, the stresses of turning up, the stresses of dealing with fuckwits, the stresses of having a bad boss, the stresses of being the boss, all right? This is taking up 90% of your mind and your priority. Okay, then we go on to family. Obviously family's there. Having read through the comments today, I would say 95% of people's purposes are their children, are their family. I want to be a better role model. I want to make sure that I see the kids walk down the aisle. I want to be fit to be able to play with them, to have the energy to, when I get home, to be able to continue playing with them and not be exhausted. Okay, family. Then you kind of come into this priority here, but how you come into it is probably, you might go for, you know, a run once every 2 weeks. You might visit the gym twice a month. You might eat well for 2 days. And it's not really, there's not really a lot of priority, but it's down there somewhere, okay? And I kind of put other, that kind of relates to kind of like personal development type of stuff, self-learning, I don't know, other parts of your life, socializing, reading, whatever that is. Other could be anything for you. So this is kind of where we are. This is where at the end of the 28 days, if you like, you're gonna be. So if you're joining me, this is where you're gonna fucking be. All right? At the very top is you. And you're going to be the priority because you're going to be fitter, you're going to be leaner, you're going to be eating better, you're going to be focused on yourself, you're going to have more time to yourself, you're going to have more clarity about who you are, you're going to have more confidence, self-esteem, you're going to have more awareness, you're going to have a better relationship with your family and your children, you're going to have a much better perspective on work-life balance, okay? This is going to consume you as an individual. Instead of the 90% on your work, I'm going to make sure that you are at least consuming your thoughts of the day, or 80% of your day is about you. okay? And when I come on to the other side, that will all make sense. Then your family, and the relationship with your family is going to be better. And I want you to consider, when you are here, okay, when you're in this triangle, it's not just you that is struggling. The relationship struggles, because they're treading on eggshells. I wonder what mood he's going to come in tonight. I wonder if he's going to be stroppy. I wonder if he had a good day. And I know this from past experience. When I see the look of my partner, when I walk through the door, it's to go, oh my God, is he in a good mood? Is he in a bad mood? And she tries to have that smile on her face, but I can see in her eyes that she's dreading that I'm going to be in a shit mood, that something's happened at work. Okay, because my mind is completely consumed with work. I haven't taken my armour off and left it at the door. I've brought it home ready for battle. And then the kids are like, hey, daddy, daddy, daddy. And you don't have the energy or the patience. And you don't give them your full attention. But here, we're different. We're home. We leave the armour at the door. Anything that happens at work, there's the fucking cut off. We've transitioned. We're now into personal space. You leave that shit back outside. Work is down here. Work is a means to an end. Work is somewhere you go where you have to earn money to pay your bills. You go there, you do your job, you fucking leave. You don't get emotionally attached. You don't get like too connected with it. Sure, be passionate about your job, but understand your job is not your life. And that is really important to understand. You could be made redundant at any point, any point. I had a guy who messaged me last week, 26 years in his job, committed himself to his job, travel, everything, missed out on his kids growing up, he's fucking 3 stone overweight, got lumbered, just like that. Your job is not stable. You, however, have to last another 40 years. You have another 40, 50 years. And there's lots to see in that 40, 50 years. But if you're not here, and you're fucking down here, you've probably got 20 to 30 years. That's the difference. And then other, down at the bottom again here, all right? So what do we need to fill this gap? How do we go from here, okay, and how do we fill this gap to here? Well, the main thing that I would say that is missing is purpose. Clear, definite purpose to be at the top. You know, why do we want to be here? What is the driving force, all right? So I want you to think about what you wrote today, if you wrote in the comments, and I want you to think about what you wrote in terms of your purpose. Now I want you to ask you the question, why you are even here in this group. If that is a strong purpose, some of those purposes that you wrote down were strong as fuck. To me, that's enough leverage to make sure that I concentrate on myself enough. But if you're not in that place, if you have neglected yourself, how have you got to that point when your purpose was so strong? Because in reality, what I figured was that my personal purpose was my kids, but yet I'm not where I want to be and I'm in a shit state. So does that mean that my kids are not a strong enough purpose to sort my shit out? And that's the question I would ask you. You want to be a role model to your kids, you want to see them walk down the aisle, you want to be better for your family, but yet you are not backing that up. So my question to you would be, and it's a hard question, and you probably think you prick, why aren't you backing yourself up? Okay, are your actions matching your purpose? Okay, you talk about wanting to be fitter for the family. You want to be around to watch them get married. You want to give your best. You want to lead by example. You want to be the best version of yourself. You want to be fitter for them, to be able to play after when you get home at the weekends. So, are you working out 4 times a week, 20 minutes a slot? Are you eating well? Are you saying no to the beer, no to the junk food? Again, are you following micro and macro actions that in the long run make sure that you are doing everything you physically can to make sure your body is as well maintained and looked after as possible to reach those weddings? Are you leading by example to your children when you come home and you're snappy at everyone? When 90% of your mental thought process is about work, and you're short about work, and when you're sitting on the sofa and you're on the laptop and you're writing your emails, or you're doing your work, or on your phone checking Facebook thinking about what you haven't got, and Instagram, and they're trying to kiss you on the head goodnight and you haven't really paid attention, you're too stressed, I don't have time. Are you being clearly the best version of yourself from the minute you wake up in the morning to the minute you go to bed at night. Okay, there's probably no one watching now because everyone's pissed off with me. But this is the harsh reality. This is a wake-up call. These are tough questions to face, and they're questions that I faced individually when I was trying to get myself out. And you know, it was hard to take some of these. Boom, 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 boom. You know, I hired a coach and he went even deeper with me, and it made me cry, it made me vulnerable, it made me feel lots of regret, it made me remorseful, but it made me passionate. It gave me fire, it gave me drive. And since I did this, I invested in that coach, and for 3 years he brought me out. Just by simply asking me questions, questioning, holding me accountable. And if you like, I always think this 5 days here is a great opportunity for you to leverage on it, to lean on this 5 days to spring forwards. And so many don't even show up. So many don't even continue. I think there was a guy in here who is his 3rd time in here. There's a guy who's done the 0 to hero and come back. But why don't we keep that consistent? Why do we forget? Why do we forget that purpose? All right? Let's forget. Let's just make sure you're all still here. Okay, here we go. I've just put here, motivation, bullshit. Fucking motivation doesn't last long, does it? Okay. So, your purpose. You have to have passion. You have to be passionate about your purpose. You have to have passion. When was the last time you were passionate about anything? Was it watching Man United and Arsenal? Was it watching a rugby match? What was the trigger? What makes you passionate about that purpose? What gives you drive to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're not used to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning? What gives you the drive to go outside and go for a run for 5 miles when it's cold, wet and icy? How can you possibly get obsessed about your purpose and yourself? Does that purpose make you feel obsessed about yourself? An obsession is a good thing if it's on the right thing. Okay, if you want something bad enough, you have to be obsessed for it. If you are here and you want a better life, you have to be passionate, driven and obsessed about your purpose. And if you're not, if you miss any of these ingredients, that's why you're in the rut. You then suddenly slip, any of these missing, down here into the rut. And this is where you wallow, feel sorry for yourself, bury your head in the sand, pretend everything's okay, wear your masks and identify, all right? When you get to here, when you get that purpose, you get that passion, that drive, that obsession, we have better control of our life and our emotions and our mental well-being. We have a much better state of mind. We're in a much better routine in our head. So think about physical fitness. I'm going to ask conditioning ourselves. Those who are joining me on the 28 days, in 28 days you're going to be twice as far, you're going to be triple, 10 times as fit as you are right now. Okay, promise you. And that is the same with your mind. Your mind gets fitter, it gets more conditioned, it gets stronger. We build it up until to the point where you're in a great state of mind. Personal management. Once you have personal management, everything else around you is in control. Your state of mind is much better, and your health and nutrition and mental well-being just go up. Okay, our habits, routines and structure all slip into place. We force ourselves almost with that drive, that passion, that obsession to make sure those habits are better. The routines, all those habits come together to form a routine in your pattern. And then all of those routines come together to form your structure. Okay, we have a better body, we have a better future, and we have better happiness. Does that make sense? More happiness. This combines like a chemistry set, if you like, and fuels this even more. Then we want more things. Then we want more out of life. Then we find new passion. Then we find new drive. And then we find new obsession. I want a new job. I want to start a new business. I want to run a marathon. Okay? I want to go on more holidays. I want to earn more money. Whatever it is. It's just like this cycle. And what happens is that when we build it up and we wind it up, it gets stronger, faster, furious. And then it becomes second nature. And when that happens, it becomes part of your DNA. And that's when you show up that 1% every single day. Every single day we get 1%. Not every day's a win, but we can find a 1% win. And that's 365% in a year. Times that by 5, times that by 10. It gives you another 20, 30 years maybe. All right, guys? So that completes this training tonight. I'm going to spin it around, and you can ask me any questions that you want.